Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Evermore, continuing on Coffee's route. I'm like, what did I go? God. Anyway, my brain wants to think we're in Eve's route, but that's not the case. We haven't been in a while, but oh good lord. Anyway, this was my encounter with the one who would lead me to either salvation or despair. I mean, right now it's been despair the whole motherfucking time. My encounter with Anko, the Watchman of Death. We could have recorded those 3 lines, the last part, but sorry. Watchman of Death? Contract? I didn't understand what he was trying to say. And the way he looks at us. That's the way Adolphe would look at us. Come on. Before I knew it, the rain around us moved away as if fearing his presence. Although not like this. This is not an Adolphe pose. This Anko watchman was observing my confusion with glee. He had literally appeared in front of me out of nowhere. He's a little crazy now. The first thought that came to mind upon seeing him was suspicion. Still, deep wound that the dagger should have left on the palm of his hand vanished without a trace in the matter of seconds. Curious about all this, it was difficult to imagine that he could be some ordinary person with delusions of grandeur. Either he's using some kind of trick to hide the wound, or he wasn't really injured in the first place. The wound and the blood I saw could have been faked. But that wouldn't explain what I felt when he cut open his hand on the dagger's blade. The blood from his finger that dripped into my mouth seemed real too. I took a step back to put distance between us before asking him a question. Let me ask you one more time. Who and what are you? Why did you get in my way? How did you heal yourself? Do I interest you as a man to such a degree? Huh? I never expected you to approach me with such passion. I admit it brings me great pleasure. That's... I feel like that's new. I don't know if you said those lines in the... Did you? I don't remember that, but okay. I would love to invite you to join me in a rendezvous in this field of flowers, but... Unfortunately, I'm afraid you're not too fond of hearing my sweet words to you. That is absolutely something. I'm sorry, because Adolphe always is like, no, you're not the evil. And we're like, we don't listen to him. So that is absolutely a pouty Adolphe thing to say, is all I'm throwing out. Perhaps I should begin by answering your questions as an overture to please you. He spoke with a graceful bow. As I mentioned earlier, I am the Watchman of Death. In the underworld of Hades, where the dead reside, I've been entrusted with the care of the souls who have reached their end. However, those who call this land home live short lives, twisting the laws of death to wring it out as much as they can before it. Laws of death to wring out as much as they can before it. Wow, I read that wrong. I find it rather boring. Anko let out a chuckle. Which is why I've been waiting a long time for the day I could finally meet you, Spacey, my dear partner and princess. Partner? Anko grinned. You said it yourself, didn't you? That you are death. Death inhabits your soul, and I am the Watchman of Death. That makes us partners, doesn't it? Things he said didn't make any sense. The more I heard, the more confused I became. Also, he is so vastly different, personality-wise from Adolphe, so it's kind of interesting, it somehow Adolphe ended up here. How and what the fuck happened? How did you end up it's one thing to have been like, oh, when I first met this person, they were happy, and now they're just miserable. Okay, probably some trauma or something. Okay, fine. But this is, very serious to, almost batshit insane. Kind of insane. Kind of a little Mad Hatter. A little crazy over here. So, what the... it's a wild swing, you know what I'm saying? So, like, that'd be a point in the not same person, but, like, I, hmm, I don't know. It was like someone was forcing me to listen to a fairy tale they made up themselves. Still, there was something about the words that penetrated my heart. If what he's saying is true, that means my soul really is the soul of death. Do we get the same choice that we had the first time of, like, say no and then end up dead? I feel like that would be ridiculous. Hearing it confirmed in this way didn't sadden me, since it was the very reason I had sought to kill myself. No matter how many times I glanced at him warily, he seemed completely unbothered. Like, looks so gleefully happy, the way he's just like, if I didn't find a way to end our conversation soon, I wouldn't be able to carry out my plan to kill myself. Anko, was it? Let me ask you something. If I really am death, then why was I born as a human in this country? Why does my existence bring death to those around me? Can you answer that? Why, of course. That's because... Oh, okay, so we're still redacting this shit. Are we always gonna redact it? You possess the of the like whatever. But this the something of would the last one be Lycoris? Lycoris. Is that how you spell Lycoris? And I can't figure out how to spell it now that I'm trying to spell it without writing it down. Spelling it in your head is different than writing it down. Absolutely different. You can easily write something down, but when you have to say it out loud, you're like, I don't know what letters are. You possess but it's not the soul. And it's not poison, because that wouldn't fit there. Something of the Lycoris. Power? You possess the power of the Lycoris? I feel like we're playing Wheel of Fortune, but there's no outcome here where we can learn the answer. But, I mean, we know the answer now. We know that, she's a plant hybrid. So you possess the power of the Lycoris is actually fitting because that's true. So, okay. All right. I couldn't hear what he was trying to say. I wonder if, like, okay, so we threw out the theory and, like, that it's wondering if in the earlier routes, when you finish the game and you go back, does it unredact? We'll probably find out because no, we're going to open a save file. We're not skipping through from the very beginning. We open a save and then we go and get our salvation end. But I would assume that whatever he's saying that's redacted here, somewhere in this route, we would get to find out. But we kind of already know what that one is. We can make a guess because Power of the Lycoris, that fits letter-wise, and also based on what we learned in Eve's route, that fits, like, game-wise, lore-wise, you know? Seeing me tilt my head quizzically, Anko rubbed his throat a little with his fingers, and... or blank. Whatever. Your lives are... something? You're blank. Huh. It's not intertwined. That could be poison. You're blank or... I don't know. Anyway. He spoke again, but I still couldn't hear him clearly. See. You can't hear me because of that. Useless as it is, it seems to get in my way at the worst times. Is there a problem with the speaking? Don't mind me. I'm simply something of a god. It seems as though this world has forbidden my physical manifestation from interfering in its affairs excessively. It is a shame, for I would have loved to tell you the truth. Is that so? It sounded like an exaggeration to me. See, what I do like about this, and whatever is happening here, is like, okay, he is trying to tell you the truth and the answers, but he can't. And you're like, okay, so it's still a mystery. But, like, think of any other anime or anything where, like, someone like Anko, a god or whatever, some time traveler shows up and is like, oh, here's the answers to all your questions. And then, but you have to believe you're the special one and you have to believe that, you know what I mean? And then it's the getting the main character to believe that they're the special or whatever. But if some random person came up to you and was like, I'm from the future, you're the special one destined to save the world, you'd be like, okay, you're crazy, right? But could you imagine if someone came up to you and was like, and everything came out garbled and jumbled, and you're like, well, that's some fucking weird shit. And then they're trying to tell you you're the special one destined to save the world, but I can't tell you what happens because every time they do a jumbled, garbled mess like this, and it's redacted, I don't know, I feel like that would be more believable. Like, there's just this little touch that makes it slightly more interesting than your typical, I'm trying to give you information or the answers to your questions as someone who knows the future type of a thing. Because, one, I mean, it saves out, like, we have now, as the player, we have more of a mystery. We know what it is now. Well, part of it anyway. You know? But it does even make it more fun because it's like, it's a little added flavor for her. Like, wait. You know? Like, or as opposed to like, oh, I can't interact. I've just got to watch. And then the character, Anko, is telling you what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just like the little redacted bits. It kind of makes it a little more intriguing and interesting. You know? It adds a little bit of spice to, like, time traveler trying to tell you the future kind of trope thing happening, you know? I don't know, I like it. Anyway. Sounded like an exaggeration to me. But judging from the look on his face, he seemed to want to tell me something, and you just heard the redactedness. Wonder how it comes out sounding. Does it sound, I'm assuming it sounds like static or garbled or whatever. In any case, I've come here to save my precious partner. Allowing you to die and guiding you back home to Hades is one way, but isn't it a little frustrating to die at the mercy of absurd misfortune and the scorn of others? See, it's that hand thing, and then Adelphi does it the other way. Other hand, up. Same frickin', I'm pretty sure the fingers are in the same position. Like, we're very similar. Anko asked me in a way that didn't even attempt to hide his intentions. What are you trying to say? Just trying to see if there's anything else going on. No. Exactly what I said. Why do I always have to go through all this? All I'm asking for is to be able to live the life of a normal human. The normal life of kind as you are, you still suffer from human desire. I assume such thoughts have crossed your mind more than once? Well, can't deny that. I shifted my gaze away, but I could still see him grinning in the corner of my eye. Hence the contract I've proposed. This land is not loved by death in the way you may believe. In fact, it has become so loved that death exists here in more ways than the cursed. I do believe you've encountered one of death's forms already. Huh? Lucas? Oro. Could you be referring to what happened in the alley? Because I triggered something to bring about death. Your curse is plucking petals from a flower in bloom and scattering them to the wind. Exactly, my curse is like doing that, true. But it's interesting, the phrasing there. Do not treat the gruesome spilling of blood and entrails as something of your doing. I felt like he was trying to pay me a compliment, but it didn't make me happy at all. So what you're saying is that the incident had nothing to do with me? That it was done by someone else? I cannot say for certain, but it is probable. I can't say for certain. And yet the weird thing about that is you would know. You're a time traveler, right? You know that it was done by someone else. You know. Huh. Because even if you didn't know that it was Lucas, okay, you would know that Boro exists. Anko played with his long hair, continuing as if I had touched on an important point. The increased number of departing souls has given me some trouble as the Watchman. If this keeps up, it will completely disrupt the balance of reincarnation. And so, I ask my dear partner to assist in reducing the number of deaths. In other words, to save the living. I wished for you to enter into a contract with me. If you are to arrive at the truth behind the deaths, I'll use my power to turn you into an ordinary human girl. One who can live happily at last, who will not bring death upon those around her. I'm assuming that getting a good ending or whatever, that would be fulfilling this contract and that's where we could go back and get the salvation ends. Ordinary girl. I longed to hear those words all my life. So, what do you say? You could achieve your happiness by rescuing others rather than ruining them. I don't think this is such a bad proposition. I'm curious, though, like, about the whole... I mean, obviously I'm curious about him and, like, the whole path and, like, the Watchman of Death thing and, like, the balance of life and death and what's actually, like, adding to the crazy in this game, you know? He was right. I'd be lying if I said I had never thought about it before. Living a peaceful life with my beloved family, not worried about killing anyone in the future. If what he said was true, I was actually able to live that sort of life. I can only imagine how happy I'd be. However, no, no. What? I was about to nod in response to his tempting offer, but I shook my head instead. This is interesting. Do not believe what I have told you. That's not it. Believing what you said to me and accepting your proposal are two separate things. It's true that I've longed to live a normal life, but for me to wish for such a thing, I shouldn't forget the reason I came out to the Lycoris field to begin with. I've killed too many people to have a wish like mine come true. I needed to put an end to it here and now. This isn't like, oh, hell yeah. It's like, oh, no, but I'm not good enough. Girl, stop being a sad sack. So please, don't hold me back any longer. I've judged myself, and I want to die. Hearing my lifeless response, why? Why do you need to be judged? It's crazy. The one professing to be an existence beyond humans forcefully grabbed me by the wrist. There are other sinners that should be punished, not you. Why are you trying to accept the blame for others' sins? Why are you not fighting against the unreasonable? I'm just saying, the anger and the aggression here is very Adolphe. I did not come all this way to hear you say that. His calm demeanor had disappeared. He was close enough for me to feel his breath as he desperately tried to dissuade me. Say my name, say his name, force myself free. I don't think we should force yourself free. I feel like that's going to get us stabbed. So I feel like saying his name. Okay, well, we don't create a save, so forcing yourself free does not kill you, by the way, but that's also the wrong answer. Anko? I spoke his name, but his face was still dyed with anger. So without thinking, Anko! I loudly yelled his name, desperately having only just met him. He suddenly came to his senses. He let go of my wrist. My apologies. It appears that I lost control of myself. But dear princess, let's reconsider. Reducing the death toll in this country means you'll be saving the lives of those close to you. The truth behind the curse is revealed. People can live as normal, aging humans without resorting to fake bodies. But isn't there someone more suitable to handle this than me? Must be you. I will not ask for your answer now. Please simply consider it. Now then, till next time. I look forward to a favorable reply, my dear princess. Did we ever actually technically agree with him? Like, I thought... Now I'm trying to consider the... I want to go back for a hot second. Now I'm trying to think. I'm just going to open Mathis for a second. So I can see the common route. Will we think about it more? Was that when we were... And then we end up in the Mathis route. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember now if we actually ever agreed. Because we have a save file where we think about it more. Huh. Well, yeah, I always see, like, think about it more. Like, we never... So I don't think... I don't know if we ever actually got to the point of a... Like, we got this where he was like, think about it, and I've put you a hold on your powers type of a thing. And we go help our friends, and we kind of try to figure out what's going on. But I don't know if we ever actually agreed to, like, help him, technically. No, I don't remember. We'd always go look for him, but we never found him. He raised his long sleeve with his arm. The moment it hit his mouth... Lycoris petals flew up into the air, and just like that, Anko melted into the darkness and disappeared. Magic! Simmer down, bird. Don't bite the headset! That's not nice. I was giving you kisses. It almost felt like I had been dreaming, but the lingering taste of blood on my lips told me that it was no dream. Maybe he was still watching me now, lurking closer than I could even imagine. And then all of a sudden there's Adolphe. That would be funny. I walked around to organize my thoughts. A Watchman of Death? I've never heard of such a person. But when I think about how he healed so quickly and how surreal his presence was, I can easily believe that he isn't a normal human. So is what he said true? If I fulfilled his wish, then I could become a normal person who didn't cause people's deaths anymore? Well, because I would feel like we didn't obviously, like, fulfill his wish. We never did that because we always got despair endings. And the salvation ends would be on the we fulfilled the conditions and now we can live as a normal girl, happy with our love interest. Well, maybe not happy because I don't know how Lucas has ended up not fucking dead in his. We have, like, it's gonna be, I swear to God, there's no way that's going well. That's gonna be like, oh, yay, we're happy and in love, and then he died 5 minutes later. Kind of like, you know, he was happy and in love with our bones before he dropped dead. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see any route where, I don't see anywhere where he's getting not dead. You know, because he's not gonna become a reliver. So, like, he's gonna end up dead, even his salvation end. That's not gonna, that's why I don't think there's any real good ending. How are we having a fan disc of this? How is that going to go? Also, I looked it up because I feel like in the last part, or the part before, one of them, I was like, when is that coming out? This one is not coming out until fall. So it's like, I really wanted to be wrapping this up, like, right when that came out. So, like, yeah, we could play it back to back right away. I don't know if that's going to work out. You know? Because I don't know. Fall to me is like September or October. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think we're going to still be playing this in September. I don't know. Because after this, we just have Salvation Ends, so it's probably going to be a matter of like a couple of weeks watch. I don't know. Anyway, it's hard to imagine. I wonder how long it had been since I last smiled from the bottom of my heart. The happy days I remembered were long gone. Only memories of blood, tragedy, and sin remained. In any case, there's no point in staying here any longer. But I can't go back to the orphanage. I would only cause other problems if I did so. I wanted Mother, Milo, and the other children to return to a peaceful life where their lives weren't threatened by death. Gee. Same rain from before continued to fall. With nowhere to go, I wandered into a dark alley near the slums. Mother and Adolphe constantly told me not to go here alone because it wasn't regularly patrolled. Burglary and theft were common, and it wasn't unheard of for people to be killed. For a moment, I thought about potentially being killed by muggers, but I would never allow a stranger to bear the guilt of killing me. What should I do? It was strange that I wanted to die, but I also wanted to accept Anko's offer and live. My emotions were telling me to choose the former, but I didn't have it in me to kill myself despite wanting to die. In fact, it took me longer than usual just to get here. Come to think of it, cold rain and my cold body, this is similar to when I first met Adolphe in the rain. No matter how many things I might forget, I would never forget that day as it remained as clear and vivid in my mind as ever. We're going to flashback. I don't mind a flashback when we've never been there before. I was born in the field of Lycris Noireges, where I was found and taken into an orphanage. I had no memory of my parents, and I didn't want to see them. I had given up on them, thinking that they had either abandoned me or were already dead. Yeah, we know what happened. They definitely did. What loomed larger in my mind was the fact that I had killed so many people at each orphanage where I found myself. At the same time, I was afraid of dying without ever experiencing the happiness that others felt. Without real proof of my crimes, I managed to escape punishment and live my life desperate to please the adults around me. Will you simmer down? What are you doing? But 7 years ago, when I was just 11, the previous orphanage I called home was struck by a fire that caused many deaths. No other orphanage wanted to take me in, and soon I found myself living on the streets. It was raining, just like tonight. No, I can't. I want to die before I kill someone again. Because I'm baby, only 11. I didn't want to cling to life anymore, and yet scared of dying. I didn't have the courage to kill myself. Please, anyone, please kill me. Please kill me. Please. I kept walking and walking as I cried, wishing for my death, and found myself on an open road. Are we gonna get... Oh, we always get baby, like, CGs of every single one of them. Do we get, like... We've seen them all, haven't we? Haven't we seen them all as babies? We, like... Well, okay, Mathis wouldn't have, because we got baby Eve. Did we get a baby Lucas? Get to see Lucas, like baby Lucas? I don't remember now. We would never get to see baby Mathis, because Mathis never was a baby, but, like... No, because we never saw little... Did we see baby Stan? Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm imagining things. Now I don't remember. So you're that girl from the rumors? Oh, well, that's true. He's actually more like teenager, so he looks exactly the same. He looks exactly the fucking... See, there's just something about the shape of the eyes and his mouth right here. This is like Anko right here. Do we not see this? Am I crazy? Like, there's something haunting about his face right now. It's not so much in the sprites, but it's this. There was something about this that if you put long white hair on him, like, tell me he wouldn't... Like, it's haunting. But also, we're like 19, he's 2 years older than us. So he's supposed to be like, what, 13 here? Give me a fucking break. He's like 18 or 19 here. Okay, game. Not cool. You can't draw him looking like this when he's supposed to be a baby. That's not fair. Like, Eve looked like a baby when we rescued us, and then, like, you're only a few years older than us, and this is, like, 20-year-old fucking... Like, if you were trying to tell me he was 16 or 17, sure, but he's, like, only 13 here. Because he's only a few years older than us, right? Well, we're, like, 19? 18 or 19. Still only a few years older than us, so... Man, I thought you'd look scary or something, but you're just a little kid. Who are you? Are you Death? Have you come to kill me? See, now that's also... Are you Death? Does he look like... And then... And... It's like... She just... See... how odd that phrasing it. I mean, I get in this situation, it makes perfect sense, but at the same time, it's like a little pin over here in the conspiracy theory board where you're like, why would you just, and if they're the same, and then she's like, are you dead? Well, nope, just the Watchman of it. I'm just saying, it's a little too fucking weird. All I'm saying. I mean, I guess we're just gonna have to give Adolphe normal Adolphe voice instead of kid Adolphe voice, which is what I was thinking he should have, but he just looks too much like adult. Anyway, I'm not some monster, so don't treat me like one. I don't have any special powers. Just a normal human for now, and technically you do have special powers, you just don't know about it. We don't exactly know what they are either. Aside from immortality, I'm guessing. And that means we're the same. So if you've got nowhere to go, come with me. There's someone who wants to see you. Huh? This older boy named Adolphe ignored my wish to die and carried me on his back without a second thought. It's slippery, so stay put. Got it? Okay. He wasn't scared of touching death. His actions were simple, like, look at our adorable baby. He treated me kindly and consoled me as gently as he would any other child. He was living in a relatively new orphanage and was asked by Mother to find and bring me there. After my arrival, Mother somehow convinced me to stay. Of course, both the children and the neighbors were afraid of me, but Adolphe was different. He never called me Death like some of the others did, and he treated me with care right from the very start. He would scold the other children who called me Death, and always stayed by my side. As he grew up, he would take me on his horse to the field of licorice nuages surrounding the country. Everyone was afraid of eating any meals I prepared, but he was always the first to take a bite. In time, they put me in a room of my own, which seemed to keep anyone from dying at the orphanage. Still, there were some children who fell ill because of me, but for some reason nothing happened to Adolphe no matter how much time we spent together. He didn't show a single symptom, right because he's immune. We're like perfect for each other. It didn't take long for me to grow fond of him. It felt like God had finally brought me someone who was impervious to my curse, and technically he is. Which also you know what I'm saying? It makes sense. Adolphe! Adolphe! I remember how I used to look for him just so he could show me how to do something. The time I spent with Adolphe and Mother was fun. The orphanage was the only place where I could forget that I was Death, even if just for a moment. I finally saw myself as a human being. And I tripped over my own foot and fell to the ground. I couldn't get up. My body was freezing from being drenched in the rain, and I couldn't seem to think properly. He's going to come to our rescue, you know it. Even if I could get up, where should I go? See, if I die from sickness, I won't cause trouble to anyone. So, then I should stay here and die. The frigid rainfall made my body shiver. If I stay wet from the rain overnight, I could die from the cold, or maybe even pneumonia. This was what I wanted all along. I could finally die. This is extremely dramatic. I mean, I get her, I get it, but, God, they are, hammering it in this time around. Jesus. Game, simmer down a little. I can never be forgiven for my sins, so wishing to be a normal girl was just a dream. There was something I regretted. Adolphe. My mind was filled with memories of the times I spent with him. Damn, she's already fallen for him. I wish I could have seen him again before I died. I wanted to apologize to him for killing Eve. To apologize for being such a bad sister. I wish I could have apologized. My eyelids felt heavy. Oh, he's going to find us. My vision blurred with every raindrop. I closed my eyes, hoping I would never wake up again. My desire to finally die. What the hell are you doing here? I love this so much better. I really expected it to fade away to become Adolphe. He picks her up, whatever, and she wakes up and he's holding her or something like that. Oh, I woke up in his arms and he's passed out and whatever. You know what I mean? He's asleep. We're all snuggled up against him. I would love that CG. Don't get me wrong. I was imagining it in my head, but I like this better. He just walks up. What the fuck do you think you're doing? You're gonna die on my watch, asshole. He's like mad at us for laying down in a gutter in the rain. I mean, to be fair, who wouldn't be mad? If you found your sister or someone you cared about, like, the fuck are you doing just laying in the street in the rain, you dumbass? You'd be pissed too. I was interrupted by a yell. I love it so much. Oh, he is so mad. You really do act like a difficult little sister. Drenched from the rain, Adolphe forced me up from the ground and looked me in the eye. I love how he's not worried. He's not like, oh my god, are you okay? He's like, the fuck? I love him being mad at us over being over worry. I love that so much. Adolphe was breathing heavily. Why? Adolphe frowned as a thought suddenly came to mind. See, there's something about the shape of his eyes when they're mad. Those are Anko's pissed eyes. I'm just saying. But instead of golden colored, they're fucking I'm just... You were trying to die, weren't you? I nod. You came looking for me? Look at his little sad face. Aw. He nodded. But why? I killed another person. I killed your friend in a horrifying way. Damn it! How many times do I have to tell you? You're not death. You're my family worth protecting. Keep telling you this over and over again. Why don't you ever listen to me? I hadn't heard him this angry in ages. Well, I mean, 5 minutes ago. Listen. It was the same anger and sorrow that he directed at me whenever I looked down on myself as death and tried to hide. Again! Do you not see the parallels here? Adolphe is like, God damn it, stop degrading yourself like this. Stop putting yourself down. You're not dead. Jesus fucking Christ, I'm gonna slap you. And then Anko getting pissed at us for thinking this or what. Like, I'm just saying, the parallel is real here. So, like, other people kind of were like, no, you can't think that way and whatever, but nobody got this angry about it. The anger is what makes it, like, on coffee. I want to be like on coffee, but like it's on coffee. Like Adol Faye, Hol Faye, on Hol Faye, on coffee. The Hugieve would be Hugo and Eve. That's because Hugo can't live without Eve, so Hugieve, I guess, and Jimmiel. But that's just because he's got a split personality. I've lost my fucking mind. Oh my god. But a lot of people have died because of me. I responded like a child. Only you, Mother, and the others were lucky enough not to die. You say that I'm a part of your family, so if that's the case, I'd rather die instead of killing... Then I'll die with you right here and now. I gasped as he interrupted my argument. Well, that's a weird way to end this route. If you don't want me dead, then live. I have no intention of living in a world that's killed you for no reason. What are you saying? Do we get a choice where we can make a bad end happen? It wasn't fair that someone so important to me... using himself as... Okay, yeah, no, that's not me. They made a typo. It wasn't fair that someone so important to me was using himself as a hostage. Confusion, frustration, regret, anger... A variety of emotions rose from inside me when I heard Adolphe's response. It would be interesting if you were like, okay, and then there was a bad end where you both died. Like, I know that he's like, fine, then we're going to die together. And you're like, what? I couldn't kill you. And he's like, okay, good. It was never an option, but it would be very interesting. If you're like, okay, and he'd be like, wait, what? Fuck, I wasn't expecting that. A variety of emotions rose from inside me when I heard Adolphe's response. I think I just read that. What am I supposed to do? I went into another childish tantrum. This is where you tell me that Eve isn't dead. Because he got Jesus punched back to life by Lucas. I'm just saying. Are we supposed to still infer that he's actually dead this time around? I don't really want to die. There's so many things I still have to do. Then live. I shook my head. Oh, he's so mean. But I can't keep living as death if things don't change. I don't want to... If I'm gonna live, I don't want anyone to die. I want to live like a normal person. I don't need it to last forever. Even if it was only for a moment. I just want to be a normal foster sister to you, Adolphe. I want to live with a smile on my face and not have to worry about killing you. Well, you don't have to worry about killing him. He can't die. We already know that he's got other kind of special powers, and I'm pretty sure it was he is immune. Like, because Salome was going to turn us both over to Cyan. Although, if Adolphe is immune, then you wouldn't need to dissect his whole body. That, like, Cyan could just be like, listen, we think you're immune. I don't want to bring this out into the public. Let me get a blood sample and let me test some stuff. And then, like, every once in a while, maybe come in for blood samples. And in return, we'll back you up in case anything does happen. But we'll just tell people we're backing you up as a reliver. And when you get closer to your age, you come in here and tell people that you're a reliver. And you just shh until we use your blood to figure out a cure. I'm pretty fucking sure Adolphe is like the key to the cure here. We're poison, but we're not killing Adolphe. Like, I'm just saying. So, like, did anybody think that maybe we should be like, ding, ding, ding. Hey, can we borrow some of your blood and, like, test it without dissecting you? You know what I'm saying? Come on. Tears burst from my eyes. I couldn't hold them back any longer. The Watchman of Death said that it was a possibility that could be granted. It was a dream I had wished for since childhood. But I gave up on it, realizing it was impossible since I was born as Death. And it would make sense if Adolphe is immune, but then Anko... You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to suffer from it anymore. Hearing my wish for the first time, Adolphe held his breath for a moment, then... Yeah, I get it. He held me as tightly as possible. I would never have come to think this way if it weren't for the Watchman of Death giving me hope that a person like me didn't deserve. It was so horrible. I felt thwarted by both him and Adolphe for stopping me from dying and making me wish for something as selfish as a happy life. Odd that it's the two of... I'm just saying! I promise, no matter what happens, I'm not gonna die and leave you. I'll protect everyone important to you, whether mother or the children at the orphanage. So, don't die. Even I want to live a peaceful life with no complaints. I want to live that life with you. Well, that's very romantic, brother. Adolphe wasn't going to let me go until I calmed down and nodded in response. To think of it. Can we just kiss now? That would just be amazing. Just kiss me now. I caused Adolphe the same kind of trouble when I first met him. I wandered through the rain, wanting to die, and he came looking for me. I mean, it's like, she's like, come to think of it. Really? You were literally just having this thought 5 minutes ago. Okay, and, like, did I not in the last part be like, she's actually kind of smart, she's good. Now she's being stupid. Like, good girl, pick a brain lane. As Adolphe carried me back to the orphanage, I drifted off and fell asleep in his arms. I'd like to do that now. He was bigger than before, and the tone of his voice had changed, but the warmth Adolphe shared with me hadn't changed at all. The way I can somehow fall asleep when he carries me hasn't changed either. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh my god, are you dead? You're like, just pass out. The comfort made all my determination from earlier evaporate into a dream. The thoughts that tormented me earlier became a droning hum that lulled me to sleep as my mind succumbed to darkness. Like, we just passed out! He's holding us in the alley and he's gonna carry our sleeping ass back. Are we narcoleptic? Jesus. That's fucking funny, though. Whenever I fell asleep crying, I always woke up late the next morning. And the person who would always wake me up was Adolphe, who's happened to be here because he was supposed to spend the night. We're in his room. It's cold. Oh, hello. I don't think we've ever seen you with your like in your casual attire. We've never seen this. I don't. Look at you. It would be nicer if you didn't have the black undershirt and it was just like, I'm just saying, you'd use some cleavage, okay? Show a little skin, okay? Jesus. It's supposed to be cold because your eyes are swollen. Adolphe placed a damp towel on my forehead. I shifted the towel a bit over my eyes to cool them for a moment, then finally sat up. Adolphe's place? I haven't been here in a while. The last time I came to visit was when I brought some food over. Nothing had changed about the appearance since then. Sorry, Adolphe. It must have been hard to carry me all the way here in the rain. Did anyone give you trouble for it? No one at all. And besides, the reason I'm all the way out here is to avoid them. Adolphe continued with a calm expression. Anyway, you didn't kill Eve. I can't say he's unharmed, but he did come back to life. Okay, good. I was like, are they going to actually kill him in this? I mean, he might end up dead in this route at some point, but like, right away? Shit! Really? Why would I lie about that? He's probably laughing in the guest room at the orphanage right now. See, I'm glad. I'm so glad he's okay. But it still doesn't change the fact that I caused him harm. At the very least, the fact that Adolphe's friend was safe made me feel so relieved that I could finally breathe easy. Now that you're feeling better, start thinking about yourself. What the hell happened before I found you there? I thought you'd be in the same Lycoris field you always go to. Well... So right there, okay. Remember the very beginning when we open this and he finds her dead? That's exactly what would have happened if Anko hadn't stepped in, right? Because he went to that field. And but Anko stepping in is what changed the course of fate. Because originally, the original timeline, when you start at 0, you hit 1, stab myself in the throat. Life continues. Adolphe becomes Anko somewhere at point 100. Okay. Then boop, 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 I'm going to start at point 0 again, and then we go. But then at point 1, he's like, no, don't kill yourself. That veers us off into path A now. So now we're at point A instead of numbers. Now we in letters. And then Adolphe goes to find us, but can't find us. And then and then finds us. So everything's different. Everything is different. Obviously, the butterfly effect, right? You change one little thing in the past, you change everything in the future and whatnot. And Anko stepping in and stopping us. But I like the fact that they showed us Adolphe's perspective. The very first thing you see is him being like, I'm too late. And then, because that sets off but in the common route, right? Every other route we play, Anko steps in. But Anko didn't exist that first time. That moment when he found us dead. Anko didn't exist then. He hadn't been born yet. Because he had to come from Adolphe's craziness. I'm just saying! See? Look at that hand. Look at that hand. Now flip it upside down. Put it, mirror it, but upside down on the other hand. And then through hair. That's almost exactly the same. I think the fingers are slightly different. But there's just too much similar in that hand pose. That hand pose is very much... Yeah, I'm sorry. Fight me. Come on. And them having the same... They gotta be the same damn person. But I'm curious how this happens. Anyway. Well, what should I do? Should I tell him about how I was planning to kill myself before Anko stopped me? Tell him everything. Don't tell him for now. Okay. I feel okay. Because if I don't I don't know how this route's supposed to go. Obviously, because we haven't played it yet. But you know what I mean? In every other one, you're like, okay, what is the answer that would best appease the character you're trying to romance? But in this one, it's Adolphe and Anko together. So do you get different endings where you romance Adolphe, where you romance Anko? Or is it we're romancing Adolphe, but then there is going to be a point or something? Because do you not get to romance Anko then? Because that doesn't seem fair. They've set him up as a romanceable character, but if they're sharing a route, how does that work? And should we veer toward what's the best answer for Adolphe? Or what's the best answer for the two of them as a combined whole? Or what, you know what I mean? I guess because we're talking to Adolphe, we should just look at it I feel both of these are very, okay. Tell him is going to make him mad. But it is us being honest and us kind of opening the door to say, this is what I was thinking, and I just need you to keep telling me not to, so that, like, eventually I get it through my fucking head and not be a sad sack and try to stab myself through the throat because you love me, goddammit, and this is where I should be. Like, you know what I mean? If we don't tell him, we're like, nothing, I was wandering around and like, whatevs, then he's gonna be like, you're hiding something. And that might break the trust. Or later when it comes out, if it happens to pop up or come up later, he's going to be like, I can't believe you didn't tell me. And again, it could go the complete opposite. But I feel like telling him leans, to me, would be the better answer. Oh, thank God. Okay. I was like, listen, come on. Sometimes I just want to get the right choices. But obviously, that's why we use a guide. But it is tell him everything. Okay. Because again, if it comes up later, you don't want him to be like, I can't believe you didn't tell me. What I experienced was so surreal that I wasn't sure Adolphe would believe me. Oh, we are just going to talk about I was going to stab myself in the throat. We're like some magical, mystical man it showed up and stopped me. But after all the trouble he went through, I didn't want to hide anything else from him. I decided to tell him everything about my weird encounter. Interesting. I mean, they did say tell him everything, so literally everything. You getting fidgety. Watchman of Death? He sounds shady as hell. That's only funny if we're going on the theory they're the same person. If they're not, then it's still funny because he's just like, but it's funnier. You know what I'm saying? I'm going on this theory because it makes it fun. It makes it more fun because if you say we're like just thinking they're two different people completely vastly, this would be amusing. Like, oh, he sounds shady as hell. Yeah. But like, it's funnier if you think they're the same people and Adolphe's talking about his like super far into the future self. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, that's fucking great. All right, we got to keep with this theory just to make these lines funnier. There's no way you can get rid of the country's curse. As expected, Adolphe frowned in disbelief at my story. Bert, he is jammed into my fucking esophagus. I am like sitting here and I'm like trying to read, but I can barely breathe. I don't know why it makes me laugh. It's kind of ticklish, but so odd. Bert, you can't do that, sweetie. You can't do it. I'm sorry, Booger, I love you, but you can't jam into my esophagus like that. It hurts and it kind of feels weird. And don't tell me you actually believe what some random stranger told you. I'm not sure myself. To be honest, I'm just as confused as you are. But I did see his wound heal right in front of my eyes. There are those who use sleight of hand to deceive people. Well, I guess I'll give him credit for stopping you from killing yourself. He probably wanted to talk to me about that more than about Anko. Adolphe grabbed my shoulders and looked at me seriously. Listen, don't you dare think about killing yourself again. Think of how Mother or I would feel. That dagger was the one that you gave me when we were kids. You gave it to me as a talisman against danger. I didn't accept it just so you could use it on yourself. You're right. Sorry. Let me give it back to... Wait! What? Did you lose it? I think so. I'm really sorry. It's fine. Judging by what you said, you probably left it in the Lycris field somewhere. He's like, look at the look on his face is slightly like, it's fine, but like, a little hurt. There's a slight, like, it's a normal face, but right now, what's happening, he's like, I'm okay. I'm not gonna be really upset about it, it's just a dagger. No, whatever. I'm not crying, okay? It's like dust. Like, he looks a little sad about it. We hurt his feelings. I know someone who goes there regularly, so I'll ask him to check. And don't go back there yourself, got it? Okay. I'm sorry for causing so much trouble. Anko hasn't. After giving me a stern warning, Adolphe continued the conversation about Anko. I kind of want to see Adolphe and Anko in the same place. We know they were technically physically in the same location when Anko was trying to help us in Lucas's route. Yeah, I think it was Lucas's route, right? Where Lucas killed everybody, basically, and he looked all torn up about Eve being, and like Adolphe was unconscious off somewhere. They were in the same vicinity, but they have never spoken to each other because I feel like that would break the time-space continuum. I want to see what happens because I want to see if they talk to each other in this because that would be interesting as fuck. Anyway. I have no clue who that guy was or why he approached you, but I bet he's up to no good. Hey! I don't think that's the case. Question mark. I don't think that's the case. Possible, but like, hey, I mean, I trust science, so I feel like I can trust Anko. I feel like science the shadiest part. And we trusted Lucas, and he's stabby, so like, I mean, listen to me. And don't talk to this Anko guy again. If you see him, let me know right away. Okay, I responded in agreement, but I couldn't imagine Anko being a bad person after scolding me so earnestly for giving up on life. The exact way Adolphe does, right? Weird. In any case, Adolphe didn't want me going to the Lycoris field anymore. If I see him at the orphanage, I'll come get you. You're staying here for now. What you need is rest, not death. I looked at him with confusion. You want me to live here with you? Adolphe nodded in response. Oh. He's just basically, well, we passed out in the rain. He didn't even have to club us and drag us back to his house. Well, alright, cool. I'm here for it. He says he would get Mother's approval later. But I don't want to cause you any more trouble than I already have. Aren't you busy with the Corps and investigating those deaths? No. I'll leave it to Eve and Hugo for the time being. This is kind of where everything changes, because this didn't happen. I mean, we stayed with him when we were all trying to find Boro, but... Huh? The residents around here already see you as the culprit. If I make it look like I've detained you, they won't take matters into their own hands. That seemed to make sense, but see, there's also something about this look, that soft look in his eyes, that's like when Anko's kind of peering at you, when he's doing this pose, the hand in the hair, and he's giving you this face. It's very similar. I'm just saying. Won't I just be a nuisance? Are you kidding? This works better for me. Huh? I finally get to spend some quality time alone with you. Well, sir, flirt with me harder. She's not gonna get that you're flirting. I get it. You better be. I'd known Adolphe for a long time, but he said it with such a serious face that I didn't know if he was joking or not. No, he is in love with you. I was still confused when Adolphe covered me with the blanket again. So just rest and don't worry about a thing. As long as you're here, I'll protect you no matter what. I won't let anyone hurt you again. I didn't know what to think. Well, I was very happy to hear Adolphe's reassurance. I couldn't even think of what to say as I looked up at him. Adolphe had been protecting me since the day we met. But would that help me solve my problems? Maybe. He's trying to protect you from beyond and, like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? As Anko. I was just saying. Anyway. We'll get to a few hours later, a few days from now. So, I will see you next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.